Treblinka, not a labor camp, not a concentration camp. It was built for one purpose only: mass murder. Between July 1942 and October 1943, over 800,000 people were killed here, on an area smaller than a football field. Today, we break down how it worked. The victims arrived by train, mostly in sealed cattle cars, thousands per day. German guards shouted at them to get off immediately. "Faster! Faster!" they screamed. Scared and confused, with a child in one hand and luggage in the other, people stepped out onto what looked like a train platform. What they saw appeared normal: a station clock, timetables, even a ticket booth. But it was all fake, and in the chaos, no one noticed. The guards herded them behind a fence covered with pine branches, designed to hide the mountains of belongings left by previous victims. There was no time to stop or think. Anyone who hesitated was beaten without mercy. Even infants were killed on the spot, brutally, just to keep the crowd moving. Then came the first selection. Those who were old, sick, disabled, or pregnant were separated from the rest. This task was handled by prisoners from the Blue Kommando, a special unit forced to help with sorting people. They calmly led the selected victims away toward what looked like a hospital, the Lazarett. But the Lazarett was no infirmary. It was a killing site. The real reason for the selection was speed. These people would only slow down the gassing process. As the main group moved into the yard, they received instructions. At first, there was a sign. Later, an SS officer delivered the same message out loud. "You are in a transit camp. You will be disinfected and then sent east to work. Remove your clothes. Tie your shoes together. Hold on to your documents and valuables." Prisoners from the so-called Red Kommando helped undress the new arrivals, sometimes forcefully tearing off clothes from women too modest or too scared. They handed out small ropes to tie the shoes together. That way, they'd be easier to carry later. Again, if someone was too slow, the guards whipped them viciously. But most people cooperated. They calmed down when they heard they were going to work. They believed that, as laborers, they might be useful and spared. During the undressing, there was a second selection. The SS picked a few young, strong men to work inside the camp. But the process was random and cruel. In one case, they chose just one man from a transport of 15,000. In another, a group of Balkan Jews arrived in excellent health. Yet only 3 were selected. They simply didn't need more workers. Some prisoners survived even without being selected. More on that in a future video. The rest, the unlucky ones, were ordered to gather all the clothes and carry them into nearby storage barracks, and they had to run, always, so they wouldn't have time to think. And because running opened their lungs, making the gas more effective. At the same time, women had their hair cut short, not shaved. That would have looked too suspicious. Instead, their hair was clipped into rough, masculine styles. The Nazis claimed it was for hygiene, but they also used the hair in industry for things like stuffing submarine mattresses. Each woman then had to lie on a table to be checked for hidden valuables, even inside the body. The victims were stripped of everything, except their gold teeth, for now. And then came some of the saddest moments of all. Jewish prisoner hairdressers often recognized friends or relatives. Most victims and camp workers were Jews from Poland. They watched their own communities arrive and disappear. But they said nothing, because they didn't want to make it worse. They didn't want panic. Some even repeated the SS lie, hoping it would make the end easier. There was no chance for revolt anyway. We'll explore why in a later episode. When the men had cleared the yard, when the women had been shaved and searched, the entire group was sent to the worst place in Treblinka, the Schlauch, the tube, a narrow, camouflaged path leading straight to the gas chambers. We'll follow them there in the next video.